Hello, welcome back to another video. It's the day after the event, but yesterday we took the trip to Western CX round 7 at the Mendips Raceway, otherwise known as Banger Cross or Shipham Cross or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, back at the Western League this week after a couple hard weeks on the bike, starting to finally feel better, but just going to take it to the Super Local League and yeah, gave it a little bit of a rip. So this was the under 12 start. So the under 12s do a lap or a half lap around the tarmac circuit, and then they're onto the embankment around the edge of it. And then at the end of the lap, they go back onto the circuit. So Dom took a strong win there, and then I was on to course practice. So the only difference from my course and the under 12s course is we've got an extra set of stairs, and we go into another field as well. But it's a fairly similar course actually, most of the same technical stuff. But again, I didn't sign up for this race, so I was gridded on the back row next to Cameron Reeves, and I got a decent start, went into the top 10 pretty quickly, and around the first corner managed to get into 9th, and then 8th, and then 7th, and then 6th. So you can see me there just moving past Tom. And then in this left corner, I tried to get past Rowan into 3rd, but he shut the door on me, so I had to settle for 4th, which I was still very happy with considering I came off the third row. And then I was going around this corner, and it was a little bit of gravel onto some stairs, and I ran into the stairs so super hard, and I slammed my side on the handrail, and I slid along the handrail, and then I had 2 impact points. That was really sore. And I lost my head for a little bit, and Finn came back past me, so you can see Finn here just going up my inside, and he had a pretty good start as well. The person who had the best start though is Finn Willard, who's got a gap right now. He's absolutely flying. So there's Finn, who goes past Dylan, and I waited until the end of the straight to go past Dylan because it would put a bit of a gap between me and Cam, but then Dylan crashed, which meant that Cam was able to move past him pretty quickly. And I was a bit worried about Cam this race because he's a very strong rider. I've raced against him before, and I don't think I've ever actually beaten him. But I've got a little gap on Cam now, and I'm into 4th, behind Rowan, Finn, and other Finn. And then I managed to get the move done on Finn. Quite happy with that overtake. Went further left on the uphill bit, and then I took a later apex. Managed to undercut him. But I bridged onto Rowan, and then Cam also bridged onto Rowan, and we managed to drop Finn Willard.
Keep it up,
so it's a group of 3 at the front. Here's Finley Cummins, holding off 4th, with I think Max and Finn behind him. This is the steepest set of stairs. There was another one that was slightly less steep. And then this is the off-camber, just after. Some people were calling it the corner of doom, but it was really just quite a slippy bank. But Rowan had a little slip, and Cam got past him, and then Rowan was really gracious and let me through there, so I could try and chase back onto Cam. And Cam got past me along the top there, because I was still recovering from my bash at the start of the lap. But I didn't get any time to rest, so I had to get straight onto Cam and try and close him down. And it was this, on the other side of the circuit, he wasn't pedalling through the corner for some reason, which allowed me to get back onto him. But you can see going into lap 2 here, and then I'm back onto Cam's wheel. But because I'm still struggling with it's actually really bad, it's like a bruise, but it's got 3 impact points. So I'm just struggling to pick up my bike and the dismounts and stuff. So Cam gets a little gap on me, and then when I'm trying to get back onto him, I end up accidentally going down onto the low line, which gives me a really bad angle for this corner, that little U-turn there, and then Cam's got a gap on me again. And it wasn't much, it was probably only a second or 2, but I never actually got back to him until later in the race, which we'll see. But he's just extending the gap now, and I just this was the fastest lap of the entire day actually, because the conditions got a little bit worse. But Cam did a 5:47 here, and I did a 5:55 on this lap, so he was just absolutely flying. I think some of the seniors only managed to get down to 5:55, although their race was a couple hours later, so the ground was a lot more chopped up. But this was the little gravel climb coming to the top of it, and it was a lot more rubbly at the bottom, so you couldn't actually get out the saddle. That's how Rowan opened up a little gap there to me on lap 1. But there's Cam through the corner of Doom, just scooting around the top. And my plan for here was to try and stay clipped in, just because then I didn't have to... I was less likely to not be able to clip in, and sort of more security, because it wasn't really any slower. I just went a little bit lower on the corner and then made sure I got my gearing right. But here's Cam going into the other corner, and you go down there and then you do a little U-turn, which is super slippy on the gravel, and you're back onto the circuit. So that's after a super fast lap. We did a 5:57, both of us, for lap 1, and then lap 2 he did a 5:47, as I mentioned before, and I did a 5:55, so he had an 8-second gap on me at this point. So this is Cam halfway around lap 3, and he's still extending the gap at this point, but I was starting to feel a little bit better, and I couldn't really feel the injury anymore. So it was at this lap through the field that I started to close back onto him. So I think the gap went from about 12 seconds, now it's down to 9. So
really well.
Starting to close down on Cam. Here's Finn and Rowan looking like they might have a good battle towards the end. But I'm not really getting too close to Cam. I think it's probably 8 seconds now. And we did 5 laps in total, so there's plenty of time to try and bring it back. So I think on this lap he put about, 8 seconds into me on the earlier part, but then I managed to claw back 5 in the later part. So it was definitely a turning point in the race for me. But it was at this point, just over the fence there, that Cam got a puncher, and he was shouting, "Puncher, puncher, puncher." And then I was told that by Nick, who was recording, who told me that Cam had a puncher. And I just stepped it up to try and get back to him as soon as possible, and then try and put a bit of a gap into him. Because it was really unfortunate, even though the lap was quite short, but he got a puncher maybe a minute and a half after he went past the pit. And it was only a single pit this race, which meant that he had to go pretty much the entire lap. So he probably did about 4 minutes, not with a flat tyre. And then he actually damaged his rim doing that as well, which I don't think his dad was too happy about, but it really showed his commitment to the event, which I think quite a lot of people were happy to see.
Well done.
But yeah, so really early on in lap 4 now, and I've managed to close the gap to Cam, who's not really able to ride all of the sections, but he's still like a super powerful rider, so I tried to go around him on that off-camber section there, but I wasn't able to. So I did the same move I pulled on Finn on lap 1, and with the late apex just managed to come alongside him, and then he's not going to move over once I'm there.
Pardon? Okay, keep it up.
And then this is my sort of chance to put as much time as him into him as I can, because I knew that he was going about sort of 5-6 seconds a lap faster than me up until this point. So I needed to have, if we're going to go into 1 to go, I wanted to have at least 6 seconds on him. I didn't actually know this at this point, but I'd also been closing the gap to him, so I wasn't super.
Keep it steady, Nathan.
I wasn't needing a super big gap. I think it probably would have been fairly interesting if we were together at the end, but my injury on lap 1 caused me to lose him, and then his super unlucky puncher. Although it is a banger racing track, and I assume they swept the track and everything, but it was probably covered in tiny little bits of glass, so I think he was the only one in the race that got a puncher. But yeah, on to the last lap, and when Cam got back on his bike, or on his other bike, the gap was out at 12 seconds, and I've managed to, within a couple corners, I've put it out to 14, so I'm really starting to feel it a little bit better now. So you see, that time I managed to get on the high line, and I'm just a lot smoother around that corner.
Lovely, Nathan.
And part of the reason I wanted to come to the Mendips race is because it is just one of my favourite courses. I really love this sort of like dipping and diving around the edge of the racetrack. It's just super fun, and you maintain quite a lot of speed.
Good stuff, guys.
So this is me here with Yeston and Albie.
Good stuff, Albie. Well done, Nathan.
I think they were quite disappointed because some of the Wessex boys ended up coming along to this one and stole all the podium places. So Albie and Yeston were fighting for 4th here. But I was just really going all in now, and I didn't actually know what my gap to Cam was because I'd been asking for it, but it was like quite spread out the course, but it was out at 18 seconds now.
Keep it up, Nathan.
And that clip just there, and you can see it in the field just over that fence, that's where the start was supposed to take place, but they actually changed it for some reason. I think it's because they were running late and they just wanted to make it more simple, but it meant that I actually missed the gridding process, and I think some of the other riders did as well, Finn and Rowan, but they there were some front row spaces saved for them, but because I didn't sign up I was on the back row.
Keep pushing. I think he's closing back a little bit now.
So yeah, 22 seconds on cam now, and super happy with my last lap. I managed to get all of my laps done within, I think, 5 seconds of each other, and super happy to take another win at the Western League. Well done to Cam in second, super unlucky with that. I think it would have been a great battle towards the end, and a big well done to Rowan and Finn in third and fourth, who were only 10 seconds apart towards the end. Well done to Riley, Cycle Boy Riley, for winning the under-14s race. Yeah, there he is. Theo in second, I think his name's Josh in third. Here's Dom on the under-12s podium. And then this is after the race. I'm not quite sure what went wrong with the podiums, but they were all at different times. So me and Finn had quite a lot of time before our podium, or my podium, because Finn was fourth. But Finn was just messing around.
Good race.
And it was really well supported event actually. They had quite good prizes, and Finn managed to get one for his little tricks. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.